Thank you for being with us. I'm again Azrina Brar.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome to Millennium News Hour. I am Tanzeeba Naurin. In today's bulletin, we will present top and trending news from across the nation and the world. Let's begin with the headlines of the day. Blinken warns Israel that humanitarian conditions in Gaza must improve to have partners for peace. Son Eric testifies in Trump's civil fraud trial. He relied on accountants for key financial documents. Biden places flowers outside bar where a gunman opened fire in Maine as he mourns with community. Crypto tycoon Sam Bankman-Fried found guilty on all charges in fraud trial. Nikki Haley to miss Florida GOP gathering for 2024 candidates. Biden administration awards $653 million in grants for 41 projects to upgrade ports. 15 injured in apparent building explosion in New York. $32 killed in drug rehab center fire in North Iran. Russian drones hit Ukraine's east-south. Five civilians killed in blast targeting Pakistan police. Delhi blanketed by toxic haze. Afghanistan crushed the Netherlands at Cricket World Cup. And father of Liverpool's Luis Diaz kidnapped by rebel ELN, Colombia says. You were listening to headlines, now news in detail. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken warned Israel on Friday that it risks destroying an eventual possibility for peace unless it acts swiftly to improve humanitarian conditions in Gaza for Palestinian civilians as it intensifies its war against Hamas. In a blunt call for Israel to pause military operations in the territory to allow for the immediate and increased delivery of assistance, Blinken said the current situation would drive Palestinians toward further radicalism and effectively end prospects for any eventual resumption of peace talks to end the conflict. There will be no partners for peace if they are consumed by humanitarian catastrophe and alienated by any perceived indifference to their plight, Blinken said, even as the call for a temporary pause without the release by Hamas of Israeli hostages was swiftly rejected by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who said Israel would be going with full steam ahead. With Donald Trump due on the witness stand next week, testimony from his adult sons in his civil business fraud trial wrapped up Friday with Eric Trump saying he relied completely on accountants and lawyers to assure the accuracy of financial documents key to the case. Meanwhile, lawyers for the ex-president, his sons, and their company again pressed allegations that Judge Arthur Engoron is being improperly influenced by his principal law clerk. Engoron strongly denied the claims and, as he had a day earlier, told the attorneys not to broach the matter again. Donald Trump is scheduled to testify Monday in the case, which comes as he leads Republican 2024 presidential hopefuls and fights 4 separate criminal cases. The unrelated civil case brought by New York Attorney General Letitia James accuses him, his company, and executives of deceiving banks and insurers by exaggerating his wealth on his annual financial statements. Trump and the other defendants, including sons Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr., deny the allegations. "We are going to win this thing. I promise you, we are going to win it because we haven't done a damn thing wrong," Eric Trump said outside court. He and his older brother are executive vice presidents of the family's Trump organization, and they became trustees of a trust set up to run the company when their father went to the White House. President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden added a bouquet of white flowers Friday to a makeshift memorial outside Shemeji's Bar and Grill, one of the scenes of the state's deadliest mass shooting. They stood for a moment of silence before bending over to hug bar owner Kathy Labelle. 8 people died there in the October 25 massacre, along with 7 at the nearby Just-in-Time Recreation Bowling Alley. 3 others died at hospitals. Biden came to Lewiston to do what presidents do in these moments of horror and grief: lend comfort to the families of the victims and to show support for a reeling community. But it's a type of trip that has become all too familiar, despite a bipartisan gun safety law passed last year after another mass shooting, and despite a series of executive orders by the president meant to stop gun violence. Too many times the president and first lady have traveled to communities completely torn apart by gun violence, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said on the eve of the Biden's trip on Friday. "We can't accept it as normal. Besides those killed, 13 people were injured in the shootings." Former crypto tycoon Sam Bankman-Fried has been found guilty on all charges after orchestrating what authorities have described as one of the biggest financial frauds in U.S. history. A jury convicted Bankman-Fried, the founder of cryptocurrency exchange FTX, on 7 counts of fraud, embezzlement, and criminal conspiracy after over 4 hours of deliberations. Prosecutors accused Bankman-Fried, once the poster boy for virtual currencies, of stealing about $10 billion, using customers' funds to make risky investments, buy property, and fund political campaigns. The crypto entrepreneur now faces up to 110 years behind bars. The verdict, following a month-long trial, comes almost a year after FTX filed for bankruptcy in a spectacular collapse that stunned financial markets and wiped out his estimated $26 billion personal fortune. During his trial, Bankman-Fried admitted to making mistakes in his running of FTX, which enjoyed endorsements from celebrities including Tom Brady and Larry David, but denied ever setting out to steal from customers. In a risky move, Bankman-Fried testified in his own defense after 3 of his former fellow top executives pleaded guilty to fraud and testified against him. Nikki Haley will not be in attendance at this weekend's Republican Party of Florida's Freedom Summit, an absence that will cost her campaign $75,000. A Florida GOP official confirmed to media that Haley told them she will not be in attendance at the Orlando event this Saturday due to family reasons. Those attending the event, which include most major Republican presidential candidates, will have to pay just $25,000 to appear on Florida's merged primary ballot, while those not in attendance will pay $100,000 for ballot access. Haley's campaign did not return a request seeking comment. The absence comes as Haley's presidential campaign has picked up steam over the past month or so. She has been rising into second place in early state polls, and she turned in well-received performances in the GOP's first two presidential debates. She was also the only candidate besides former President Donald Trump to get a one-on-one meeting with Republican mega donor Miriam Edelson during last weekend's Republican Jewish Coalition gathering in Las Vegas, according to the New York Times. The Transportation Department on Friday awarded $653 million in grants to upgrade and improve 41 water-based ports across the United States. The grants are part of the $1 trillion in infrastructure investments included in a bipartisan law signed by President Joe Biden in 2021. Biden administration officials said the projects being supported will allow ports to meet greater shipping demands as well as lowering costs for consumers and improving worker safety. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg said on a call with reporters that supply chain challenges starting in 2021 drove up prices as the United States recovered from the pandemic. He said the goal of the projects is to improve the infrastructure for ports so that they can withstand the kinds of shocks seen during the pandemic. Our goal is to strengthen those supply chains in a durable fashion, Buttigieg said. Today's announcement is another big step in that direction. The grants included $43.4 million to replace a dock in Cold Bay, Alaska. The Port of Long Beach in California will receive $52.6 million for various upgrades, including a rail expansion to help move cargo. The Port of Newark in New Jersey will get $32 million to reconstruct a berth. 15 people were injured Thursday when a gas line was struck in a New York village, destroying a residential building in an apparent explosion, authorities said. The incident occurred around 12:15 p.m. in the village of Wappingers Falls in Dutchess County. Wappingers Falls Fire Chief Jason Ensign said at a media briefing that an excavator ruptured the gas line. He said that crews arrived at a working fire and that people were trapped in the rubble of the building after the explosion. 8 adults and 2 children were injured in the initial incident, Wappingers Falls Police Commissioner Paul Italiano said. The victims had critical injuries, he said, the extent of which was not clear. 5 first responders, a firefighter, and 4 police officers were also being treated at hospitals for minor injuries, including smoke inhalation, he said. We will be back after a short break. Till then, stay with us. This world continuously revolving around various events. Every minute, every second, something is happening somewhere around the globe, and you want to get connected to that event or to that specific moment. Here we come, Millennium News Hour, to get you connected with top USA and international trending news, which includes local news, political news, world news, business news, health and science related news, entertainment news, sports news, and so on. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for all at TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV, and Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia, available with Sky Network, Worldwide Jago TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network, and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with Millennium News Hour to get the world news on your fist. Welcome back to Millennium News Hour. Now it's time for global updates. The death toll from a fire at a drug rehabilitation center in northern Iran rose to 32, local media reported today, up from an earlier count of 27. 32 people have been killed in the fire, which erupted at a drug rehabilitation center in Lengerd, a city in the northern Gilan province, said ISNA news agency, quoting the province's deputy governor Mohammad Jalai. Jalai said 16 others were wounded in the blaze, 4 of whom were in critical condition. The judiciary's Mizan online news website had earlier reported 27 dead and 12 wounded. The cause of the fire was not immediately clear, but the province's Chief Justice Ismail Sadeghi had opened an investigation, Mizan said, noting the center's capacity was for 40 people. Sadeghi said several suspects had already been arrested, including the center's manager. Footage of the fire broadcast by ISNA showed it lighting up the night sky and sending huge plumes of smoke into the air. Other footage showed emergency personnel, firefighters, and ambulances gathered outside the heavily damaged site after the fire was contained, with images showing the center's roof had been destroyed, its windows shattered, and its walls blackened by smoke. In August, a fire broke out in Tehran's Grand Bazaar, damaging multiple shops but causing no casualties. Russia launched a massive drone attack early Friday, hitting critical infrastructure in the west and south of Ukraine and destroying private houses and commercial buildings in Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city, officials said. The Air Force said it shot down 24 Shahid drones out of 40 launched by Russia, the biggest drone attack in weeks to target Kharkiv in the northeast, Odessa and Kherson in the south, and the region of Lviv on Ukraine's border with Poland in the west. One X-59 missile was also shot down, the Air Force said. We realize that as winter approaches, Russian terrorists will try to do more damage. We will respond to the enemy, President Vladimir Zelensky said of the attack, adding that air defenses had been active in 10 different regions. Officials say Ukraine is bracing for a second winter of Russian airstrikes on the energy system, which they warn is more vulnerable than it was last year, as it has less excess capacity and little in the way of spare equipment. The Air Force said the latest drones were launched in several waves and flew to different regions in small groups. Air alerts in some regions lasted for several hours during the night. A bomb blast targeting a Pakistan police van in northwestern Pakistan on Friday killed 5 civilians and wounded 21 people, officials said. The attack happened in Dera Ismail Khan, a city in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province near the Afghan border, where militancy has spiked in recent months. The bomb was planted in a motorcycle. The target of the blast was a police van. Jafar Islam, a senior government official in the district, told media. 5 people have been killed. All those killed were civilians. A woman and a 7-year-old child and 8 police personnel were among the wounded, he said. Bilal Faizi, a spokesperson for Rescue 1122, confirmed the blast and the number of casualties. No group has claimed responsibility for the attack, but Pakistan's homegrown Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan movement is active in the region. The group has been emboldened by the return to power of the Taliban in neighboring Afghanistan in 2021. Islamabad regularly accuses its neighbor of harboring militants, a charge Afghanistan denies. They have largely focused on targeting security forces, with civilians sometimes caught up in the violence. A caretaker government led by Prime Minister Anwarul Haq Kakar has been running the South Asian country since parliament was dissolved on August 9. India's capital, New Delhi, was wrapped in a thick layer of toxic haze on Friday, and some schools were ordered closed as the air quality index plummeted to the severe category. New Delhi again topped a real-time list of the world's most polluted cities compiled by Swiss group IQ Air, which put the Indian capital's AQI at 640 in the hazardous category yesterday, followed by 335 in the Pakistani city of Lahore. Regional officials said a seasonal combination of lower temperatures, a lack of wind, and crop stubble burning in neighboring farm states had caused a spike in air pollutants. Many of New Delhi's 20 million residents complained of irritation in the eyes and itchy throats, with the air turning a dense grey as the AQI hovered around 480 in some monitoring stations. An AQI of 0 to 50 is considered good, while anything between 400 to 500 affects healthy people and is a danger to those with existing diseases. Now it's time for business news. Today's New York stock close price is 15,475.20. The NYSE Composite is increased by 142.60 points or 0.93%. Tokyo stock close price is 31,949.89. The Nikkei 225 index is increased by 348.24 points or 1.10%. Shanghai stock close price is 3,030.80. The Shanghai index is increased by 21.39 points or 0.71%. Hong Kong stock close price is 17,664.12. The Hang Seng index is increased by 433.53 points or 2.52%. Bombay stock close price is 64,363.78. The Sensex index is increased by 282.88 points or 0.44%. Let's have a look on today's sports stories. Afghanistan have kept their hopes of qualifying for the World Cup semi-finals alive after beating the Netherlands by 7 wickets in a low-scoring group game. After the match on Friday, Afghanistan climbed to 5th in the standings with 8 points behind New Zealand on net run rate. The top 4 teams will move into the last 4 of the tournament. Afghanistan had won only 1 game in 2 previous World Cups, but the Asian side now have 4 wins in the tournament in India after also beating defending champions England, Pakistan and Sri Lanka, chasing 180 for victory after the Netherlands won the toss and opted to bat first. Afghanistan were 55 for 2, but Rahmat Shah scored a breezy 52 of 54 balls to set the platform for a comfortable chase. Skipper Hashmatullah Shahid made an unbeaten 56 to guide Afghanistan home in the 32nd over, smashing the winning runs with his 6th boundary. Colombia's government says the armed rebel group, the National Liberation Army, known as ELN, was responsible for the weekend kidnapping of the father of Liverpool and Colombia national football team striker Luis Diaz. The peace delegation of the government, which is currently in negotiations with ELN, said in a statement on Thursday that it was officially aware that the kidnapping had been perpetrated by a unit that belongs to ELN. We demand that the ELN releases immediately Mr. Luis Manuel Diaz, and we say as of now that they are entirely responsible to secure his life and integrity, said Oti Patino, who leads the peace delegation. Both parents of Liverpool's Diaz were kidnapped by armed men on motorcycles on Saturday at a petrol station in the small town of Barrancas. The footballer's mother was rescued within hours by police who set up roadblocks around the town of 40,000 people, which is near Colombia's border with Venezuela. Diaz's father remained missing, which triggered special forces to search for him in a mountain range that straddles both countries and is covered by cloud forest. Police also offered a 48,000 reward for information leading to Diaz's father. Let's have a look on today's weather forecast. Before finishing today's news, let's hear out the headlines again. Blinken warns Israel that humanitarian conditions in Gaza must improve to have partners for peace. Son Eric testifies in Trump's civil fraud trial. He relied on accountants for key financial documents. Biden places flowers outside bar where a gunman opened fire in Maine as he mourns with community. Crypto tycoon Sam Bankman-Fried found guilty on all charges in fraud trial. Nikki Haley to miss Florida GOP gathering for 2024 candidates. Biden administration awards $653 million in grants for 41 projects to upgrade ports. 15 injured in apparent building explosion in New York. 32 killed in drug rehab center fire in North Iran. Russian drones hit Ukraine's east-south. Five civilians killed in blast targeting Pakistan police. Delhi blanketed by toxic haze. Afghanistan crushed the Netherlands at Cricket World Cup. And father of Liverpool's Luis Diaz kidnapped by rebel ELN, Colombia says. That's all for today. Keep watching Millennium News Hour for latest news update. To stay updated, like our Facebook page, subscribe our YouTube channel and visit our website. Our website address is www.millenniumnews24.com. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for all at TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV and Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia available with Sky Network, Worldwide Jadoo TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BT Network and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with us for all the latest news worldwide. Thank you.